I think it's time for legislation.
All right. So for this week's legislative week in review, I came across this bill that is HR 13, and it's called Commitment to American Security Act. So that is what kind of pulled my attention to this, because that just sounded very vague, and it sounded, I don't know, kind of important. American Security Act, whenever they have any kind of acts like this, it's always eerie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for information, it was introduced by Mike Rogers on October 27th of this year. So far, it's just been introduced to 7 committees. So we have a Homeland Security Committee, committees on the Judiciary, Ways and Means, which we know is Steve's favorite.
Right.
The Foreign Affairs Committee, the Oversight and Reform, Energy and Commerce. So it obviously it spans a broad sort of compendium of organizations here. Obviously, if it has so many different committees that it has to present to, right? And I think that if it goes to the Ways and Means Committee, like it's pretty serious when it gets to that point. As far as co-sponsors, it's got 5 co-sponsors. Nobody really that I thought was anything too crazy. But I did want to check out the text for it, right? And so I was able to pull up the text. It's right here on congress.gov. And the first part of it says it talks about enactments, right? And so I almost feel like this is some sort of maybe like a summary type of bill, which I don't. Maybe it's like to put this into the record of what part of certain bills have been enacted. I really am not sure because
well, he's running for re-election, right? So I mean, is he challenged? I mean, I doubt he's challenged in his district in Alabama, but it may just be a posturing for the election, right? It may be a meaningless bill.
Right. So, as you can see here, the Justice Act that has to do with police reforms that were brought about after the George Floyd murder. But then the second part here, it talks about protecting the homeland. And it's just, as you can see here, it's just every single line just says a bill to authorize certain authorities of the Department of Homeland Security and for other purposes of the 116th Congress as introduced in the House of Representatives. It's just, and cybersecurity, the same thing, right? And then additional security measures. And again, the same thing. And so I just thought that was kind of weird. So I went and I looked up HR 8309.
Right.
All right. So then here again, introduced by Mike Rogers. So this is the other part. The other bill is saying that these were enacted, that's what I'm saying. It's like super weird how this bill, maybe that's how it works, is that you have to have like a buffer type of bill but that I know of, I haven't seen anything like this. And so this one also introduced this year, September 17th. It's just been introduced, and so that's why I thought it was kind of weird. The other one saying that it's been enacted. It's been referred to all the same committees, and it's got 13 co-sponsors, which, I mean, again, I don't really see anything from here. No, but the only one that really stood out to me was Dan Crenshaw, and I don't really know his politics. Do you guys know anything? I know he's the dude with the patch.
Yeah, what did he recently? He recently
had something about him.
He recently had some post on Twitter that was spot on.
I know that they, when the whole Unity 2020 thing was brought about, they were talking about having Tulsi and Crenshaw on there.
I know what he recently did that I thought was great was he basically said, I know there's no real liberals left when nobody said anything about when the big tech was on Capitol Hill, like nobody complained anything about censorship going on. None of the left complained at all about any of the censorship.
Mm-hmm.
And he called that out, which I thought was pretty great.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about him. So I'm not really sure. Again, I don't really know about his politics, but
Yeah, he and Tulsi were the ones that won the nomination for the Unity
Right.
ticket. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then I wanted to see what the text was, if it's talking about the different sections of this text, right? And this was introduced again back in September.
Mm.
So you would think the other one has text. It was just introduced October 27th, and this one there's no text.
Wow.
And so I went and I looked. This is the representative, right? So it's Mike Rogers. I went on his site to see if there was, because normally they'll put out some sort of like press release or something. And I went to the press releases and he doesn't have anything from like, I think July was the last thing that he had up. God, what? Ugh, his site is a mess. Look at this thing. Jeez. Media. Here we go. Press releases. Yeah, you're gonna see there's like nothing here. So yeah, July 9th, 2020. That's the last time that he's running for re-election. So, and this is his official page. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. Okay, so then I went to GovTrack to see if maybe they had anything, and no, not available yet, right? And their source is congress.gov. And I even went to this bill sponsor here, and the text, it doesn't have anything either, right?
I mean, it's not going to pass, right? Because I mean, the House is controlled by Democrats, and this is all Republicans. So I mean, even if it's whatever it is, it's probably not going to pass, I would say. But I mean, I'm still curious.
But honestly, this almost feels like an appropriations type of bill.
Right.
I don't know. Those bills are a little bit different. It doesn't.
Well, to authorize authorities, whatever that means.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's so vague. And the fact that there's no legislation, why wouldn't there be any sort of legislation talking about authorities given to the Department of Homeland Security? I don't know. I thought that was kind of a big deal.
So it's a big blank check to the deep state that will be filled in once Biden's elected, you think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that it's super weird. Obviously, I think that Trump is going to win, but I mean, yeah, if Biden wins, then they'll definitely not even have to put out any sort of text.
Right.
But I was also reading another piece of legislation that had to do with intelligence. So it had to do with the appropriations or the fiscal year 2021. Yep. And it is kind of detailed about all the stuff. And so that's why I was like, why is it that they would put out this sort of information? But maybe it was because it was pretty bland. There was nothing really in there that I saw that really caught my eye but maybe with this Department of Homeland Security stuff, it's a little different. I don't know. I think that's something I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it because
good idea.
You having blank authorities like that definitely needs to be watched.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of redundant because if you're an authority, you already are authorized. I mean, they're from the same word, the same root. So like, it's like, I don't understand how you authorize authorities, because if they're an authority, they're already authorized.
Well, but I also want to, if I'm not mistaken, DHS was created after 9/11, right?
Yeah, right. And they shuffled the agency, like FBI is part of, isn't it part? I don't know how it works, but they reshuffled things like the TSA and all that stuff is part of DHS.
Right.
Yeah. So they
right. So that's again, we definitely need to be keeping an eye on that.
I mean, the whole homeland, language is redolent of the Third Reich, of the homeland. That's a fascist
really
term. Oh yeah, and in fact, I think it was who was the woman who wrote the book talking about I can't remember her name right now, but I saw her on Democracy Now! This was like 15 years ago, talking about the term homeland is a new. It was like the language was a definite shift, because we never used that language before of homeland and everything. It's a very much well, it's used in Russia too. You know, they had this concept of Rodina, which is the homeland,
or like Mother Russia, right?
Yeah, Mother Russia, and Germany had Nazi Germany had you know, Die Heimat, which was the homeland, and from the same root, Heim, you know, home, and it was just like. And she, it's on the tip of my tongue. She made noted that this was a new shift in language. So it's definitely a quasi-fascist term, the homeland, because it implies that, you know, the rest of the world is out there, it's foreign, and this is the homeland. We're protecting the homeland. So we're no longer so much a nation of immigrants, a melting pot, but we're like protecting, you know, our turf against the evil hordes in the rest of the world. And it just changes the perspective.
Which just leads to more tribalism.
Us against them,
tribalism, right?
Yeah, and us against them kind of thing, sure.
Yep.